Thank you for joining me for this short presentation on how President Trump is acting just like President Kennedy did. Now, history, of course, is important to understand. And what's striking about the current market environment is the number of similarities to what we saw in 1962. Politically, they're both midterm election years, and the election cycle definitely has an influence on the market. It's also interesting to note that stocks have been rallying since President Trump's election in 2016 in almost a mirror image of what happened after the 1960 election. Now, here's the stock market around 1960. And as you can see, we had a broad trading range, the election, a sharp rally, and then a decline. Now, that decline began earlier in 1962, but in April 1962, President Kennedy accelerated the stock market's free fall. He became irate over a price increase that U.S. Steel and other steel companies tried to implement. And remember, at the time, U.S. Steel is one of the largest companies and most important companies in the United States. This is the era when the U.S. was a major exporter to the rest of the world. Kennedy called these price hikes unjustifiable and irresponsible. He hearkened back to his inauguration speech. Remember when he said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Well, he said he got the answer from the steel companies, and they were showing utter contempt for the U.S. Here's what the market looked like as he spoke. We went into an absolute free fall, and stocks fell more than 22% over the next 9 weeks. In 1962, we also had the Cuban Missile Crisis. That sparked a sell-off in October, but it was nothing like what we had seen earlier in the year. And you'll notice it formed a higher low. The Cuban Missile Crisis came as stocks were recovering. Now we have to ask the question, is history repeating? And this is just one example of the tweets that the current president has sent out about Amazon and their CEO. The current president is unhappy with Amazon, and he's looking at, could we perhaps renegotiate the contract? Which, of course, would have wide-ranging implications, not just for Amazon, but for UPS, FedEx, other delivery services, and every consumer. Now, here's what's startling to me, is the overlay. This is an overlay with both of these charts, both of these lines beginning with the election. So we go back in the dark blue line. This is November of 2016. The lighter line is November of 1960. And as you can see, the similarities are unusually stark in this comparison. The Kennedy market, of course, sold off at this time and subsequently rallied, but a steep and horrible sell-off really shook investors' faith. The conclusion of all this is presidential feuds with CEOs can be market moving. This is especially true in 2018 when a single tweet could spark a bear market. Now, there's differences between 1962 and now, but there are also similarities, and we need to be on the lookout for the potential of a problem similar to what we saw in April 1962. That's all I have. Thanks for joining me for this look back at history.